What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Naughty Egg Draw. My name is Jake, and that was not epic enough for this video. Hello, brothers and sisters. Today I am going to be taking what I hear is called monster clay. Not sure what this monster is, but I have my epic warhound here, and him and I will take down this monster on our own. Oh, it's just clay? Oh, well, I guess I will just be using some monster clay to create an epic piece of one of the characters from the new Assassin's Creed game, Valhalla. May Odin be with us. Alright, so to start off, I decided to use a skeleton head that I had from Halloween that had a jaw that was adjustable, and since I wanted to make the Viking character screaming, this would make a really easy jumping off point, as well as a really sturdy jump off point. I took some quick epoxy and used that to secure the tripod stand to the skull, and then just went in and added a little extra reinforcement with some hot glue. Once that was all done, I bulked up the areas where the neck would be with some tinfoil and tape, as well as filling in the big gaps with some tape as well, so I wouldn't waste any clay. Now, this is the first time I've ever used monster clay, and it was really interesting to work with. When it's not heated up, it's like working with a massive chunk of chocolate that's pretty much impossible to work with, and you actually have to heat it up in the oven or microwave to get it soft enough to work with. I really couldn't seem to get the time right when it came to heating it up in the microwave because it would either still be really hard or just pure liquid hot lava. Like, seriously, this stuff you need to be careful with. If you put it in heat too long, you will burn yourself. But the clay has its advantages and disadvantages. I am used to using mainly like Sculpey, Super Sculpey, polymer clays, things like that, and it was pretty difficult for me to work with this clay at first. But once I started to learn how everything worked and when I needed to heat it up and apply it, it started to get a little easier. It also didn't help that I was using this clay for the first time, and I have never done a human head before in clay. I've done like some cartoony heads, but I've never done like a real life head. But you gotta try everything at least once when it comes to art, right? Unfortunately, I decided to record all my art, and you guys get to see all my royal mess ups. Which, I wouldn't say I royally messed up in this piece, I'm just saying that when I do royally mess up, you guys get to see it. Now, one tip I'm going to give you guys that I learned while working with this is you need to really let the clay cool down a lot before you decide to go in and start adding details. I kept rushing into heating up everything and then adding some details and then heating it some more and adding some more details, and because of this I kept having to redo the details that I've already done. So my tip is to bulk up everything and get your basic shapes down and then start carving away at some of the stuff until you have the basic areas blocked out. Then at that point you can start going in and start adding details. If I had done that before, I would have actually noticed a lot earlier that some of my proportions were off, and I would have been able to fix them a lot better. But since I did all the details and added a bunch of stuff before I did that, some of the mistakes I just couldn't fix, but some of them I was able to fix. So to do the areas that had hair, I pretty much would just slap a wad of clay on the model and then just took my heat gun and got it all soft and then just went ham with my wire tool and just hashed away at it. By the way, if you're using monster clay, I suggest getting a heat gun. You can use a hair dryer to soften up the clay a bit, but it takes a lot longer to get it done. Now, a hair dryer is a lot safer. I did manage to burn my finger on my heat gun because I really wasn't paying attention and I ended up burning my hand, and it sucks. But all the materials I do use in this video, I will leave that in the description below, so if you want to check out any of the stuff I use, you can go ahead and click on those links. Oh, and if you overheat this stuff, it will start to really melt, and it did that a couple times and it dripped everywhere. So another tip for using this clay is that if you're making something, say like this ear, and you want to attach it to the model that's already made, you can just heat up that area and kind of liquefy it a little bit and then just slap it on there. This kind of works in the same way of regular clay in the sense of hashing something, adding some water to both sides and slapping it on. This is one of those advantages though that I really like about this clay. You can attach stuff a lot easier than most clays, and you know it's solid. It's kind of like clay welding. But remember, I suggest doing all the blocking out of all the areas beforehand so you don't heat up those areas and then all the surrounding areas around it lose details from the heat. But this sculpture is really making some headway, and before we hop into our epic final minutes of music and time lapse, a word from our sponsor. Some crazy guy with his dog.
What say you, Stormy? Do we march into battle one last time? For Odin!
Alright everyone, it is done, it is finished, it's not perfect, but for my first time ever creating a human bust and using monster clay, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And for anyone thinking that I cheated for using these skulls as a base, it's not cheating, it's called being resourceful. So there. But let me know down below how you think it turned out. The monster clay was a little weird to work with at first, but as I slowly started to work with it, I started to get the hang of it. So in the end, I was pretty happy with how it turned out. But stay tuned for next week where I plan to have a slightly shorter video than usual, doing one more sculpture before I get back into drawing and maybe another video game console rebuild. But anyways, keep watching because I had a couple blunders when I was shooting that intro. So if you want to have a couple laughs, make sure you watch that little bit at the end. And like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye.
I'm not sure who this monster is, but I have my epic warhound.
That is your butt.
Epic warhound.
Sorry.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Hello, brothers and sisters. Hello, brothers and sisters.